Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. My name is Ida Patricia and I will be presenting the introduction and background parts of the study. So, firstly, the title of the research article is The Relationship Between Internet Slang and English Language Learning, whereby it focuses on the impact of Internet slang on English language learning in the context of Malaysian higher education institutions. So, in this article, it emphasizes the significance of English as a global language and its crucial role or performance in higher education. But not only that, it also shows how we can see that slangs are aiding the evolution in language communication, and how within this research it highlights the emergence of language as tools for effective communication. Therefore, the authors Wan Adzri Indra and Al Amir Emir highlight the practice of learning English as a second language in Malaysia due to its widespread use, its essential role, and relevance of learning the language in the higher Malaysian education system. So, with that being said, this article discusses the reduction of English proficiency among Malaysian students as it heavily notes on the impact of internet slang on English language learning in these academic settings, therefore making an emphasis on the necessity to address the impact of internet slang on the students' language competency. So, in a way, the aim of this article is to help shape language proficiency by addressing the issues raised in it.
Next, we're gonna moving on to the summary of the research. So the research is basically a study of the relationship and correlation between the usage of internet slang and English language learning among students. So internet slang is a type of slang or terms that is created or used by the people on the internet to communicate to one another. Well, English is considered as an important element in the educational institution. However, with the mass use of internet slang everywhere nowadays, it has become a concern. Therefore, this study is trying to identify the level of internet slang on English language learning as well as to investigate the impact and relationship of these two variables. A qualitative approach was implemented where a set of questionnaire has been designed and distributed among the sample population, which are the university students of Bachelor of Human Science in English Language and Literature in International Islamic University. So, the findings showed that there is no significant relationship between internet slang and English language learning. And based on the data collected, all variables of internet slangs are not notable in affecting English language learning process. The result also portrayed that most of the students are aware of the usage of internet slang and they avoid using such slang in a formal context or precisely during the learning session. Thus, this study has proven that internet slang does not affect English language learning overall.
So there are three issues that we would like to critique on this case study, which is the first one is the method used in collecting data, the second one is the limited scope of study, and the third one is measurement validity in the limited scope of internet slang variables analyzed. So the first critique is the method used in collecting data for this study. So from the abstract of this case study and from the findings, we can see that the researcher implemented a quantitative approach where a questionnaire has been designed and distributed toward the sample population. So it is undeniable that a quantitative approach is suitable to measure variables such as the frequency of internet slang usage, English proficiency levels, and the impact of these variables on each other. However, it may not give us detailed data of how internet slang impacts the English language learning. So to get a more detailed data, we think the researcher should instead use a mixed method approach which combine the quantitative and qualitative approaches to collect data for the study. So according to Gunnell, mixed methods approach involves philosophical assumptions that guide the direction of the collection and analysis of the data and the mixture of qualitative and quantitative approaches in many phases in the research process. So we think by doing both approaches, quantitative and qualitative, it will give us a broader insight of and a better understanding of research subjects than either one approach alone. So by also doing a qualitative approach such as doing an interviews with the students, the researcher could gain a broader insights on how the student experience in this case. Do they experience this issue and whatnot? So we think mixed methods provide information on different levels of understanding. So we believe when two methods are combined, qualitative methods may provide in-depth understanding of the variables that lead to quantitative numerical findings. So using a mixed method approach provides us a greater understanding and great findings to a study. So the second one is the limited scope of study. From this study, we know that the researcher only focuses on the students from International Islamic University who are taking bachelor degrees in human science, English language and literature, which specifically learn about language and literature. So since the students come from language background, we don't think it is a problem for them to differentiate between how to use the language within informal and informal situation. So we think that this case is less relevant for them since we believe that they are familiar with the usage of the language. So majoring in a language course means they can easily differentiate between informal and formal language. To gain a more comprehensive understanding of this issue, the researchers should target a broader sample size from various educational backgrounds so they could also get an output from the other students who do not come from the same language background. Because we do think that focusing on just one specific group of university students may not fully represent the diverse population of students in Malaysia. Findings of this study shows that the degree of influence from internet slangs toward English language learning was very weak because most of the respondents were aware of the usage of internet slangs in academic environment where it does not affect their English language learning session. Just how I mentioned just now, they can differentiate of how they use the language. However, it differs from the finding of the study that we found by Fee Maria Matthias, Impact of Internet Slang on the Academic Writing of Computer Science Students. So the study is about how Internet slang influenced the computer science student on their academic writing skills. And it concludes that Internet slang negatively affects the writing performance of the students. So we can see that by comparing these two studies, we can see that there are differences in terms of findings between two samples, students who are measuring in language and for those students who didn't come from language background. So in order to get a more detailed understanding and answers for this issue, the researcher should have targeted students from various education backgrounds. So the motive to discover the relationship between internet slang and English language learning among students will be achieved successfully.
Moving on to our third point, the study has several issues with measurement validity due to its limited scope of analyzed internet slang variables. It primarily focuses on specific types of internet slang such as homophones, onomatopoeic words, emoticons, split speak, and punctuation, overlooking the broader spectrum of online language. This narrow approach fails to recognize the dynamic nature of internet slangs, which constantly evolves with various expression, abbreviation, and acronyms, potentially leading to an incomplete understanding of its impact on English language learning. Next, the study findings may lack generalizability because different online communities and platforms have diverse sets of internet slangs not adequately represented in the questionnaire. By excluding certain forms of internet slang such as acronyms or memes, it could significantly affect language learning outcomes and raise concerns about the research validity. Insights from studies in 2018 highlight the language used in internet memes, including colloquial English, regional expression, puns, specialized terminology, and deliberate errors in grammar and syntax could inform the development of comprehensive research methodologies. Future research should expand the scope of internet slang variables to cover a wider range of online language phenomena and develop more inclusive questionnaires to capture the richness and complexity of online language use. That's all from me.
Lastly, for the conclusion, there are several viewpoints have been provided throughout this study, each providing insights into potential effects and implications of internet slang on language acquisition and proficiency. While some may argue that the usage of internet slang will impede the traditional language learning, others thus believe that it can act as a catalyst for language engagement, establishing genuine interactions and intercultural comprehension. Online slang exemplifies the flexibility and the adaptability of language in the digital age. Here we can see the rise of internet slang depicts not just the impact of digital platform on language growth, but also various socio-cultural contexts in which communication occurs. From here, understanding internet slang involves more than just linguistic research. It also necessitates an appreciation for its sociocultural importance and function in creating modern discourse. Next, despite uncertainties regarding its impact on formal language ability, online slang allows language learners to connect with realistic language use in real-world circumstances. By incorporating internet slang into language learning practices, the educator can capitalize on its popularity to generate valuable connections and improve communicative abilities. Lastly, the educators must be aware of the changing nature of language and use educational approach that combine both traditional methods with technological advances. Thus, educators may enable students to manage the complexity of language in the digital age and become an effective communicators by embracing the opportunities provided by online slang while maintaining the relevance of fundamental language skill. And that's all from us. Thank you.